On your screen, you'll see a list of agenda items that we plan to cover during the session. We'll discuss the Secondary Education Science Program, admission requirements, and resources available to distance learners. We'll also share some information about the University of Alabama and the College of Education. We'll have a question and answer period at the end of the session after we present you with some general information. You can type any questions that you may have in the chat box as I just demonstrated. And for the purpose of the recorded session, I will read the questions aloud and one of us will address your questions so that you can go back and reference this. And you will all receive an email, if not the beginning of next week, perhaps the week after that. Next week is spring break and UA will be closed, but you will be receiving that email with the link to this recorded session and any other links to resources that you'll need as a prospective student and our contact information if you have further questions. And with that, I'm going to pass the presentation on to Dr. Sunal.
Okay, thank you, Brandy. The EdS in secondary education in science is really an advanced degree beyond a master's, leading into leadership roles. So that if you're serving as either, let's say, a science department chair or wanting to do additional leadership or development of teachers in your school district, or just want to become more expert in your teaching as a teacher in your classroom, the degree assists in each of those areas. In addition, and I think it comes a little bit later too, some students are using this as a stepping stone to an additional advanced degree, such as an EDD or a PhD degree program. The typical student has a master's degree in secondary education in science education and a second level teacher certification certificate. You'd receive in Alabama it's a B level as an undergraduate, and then as a master's degree student you'd receive the A level. In different states it's listed as under different names. We have an older student who begins the program. Typically the students are in the southeast, although we have students as far away as Vermont and Colorado and so on. And again, as I said before, some of the students are interested in pursuing a doctoral program beyond, and we use this, all the courses in this program to take you about 40% of the way towards a doctoral degree, and then taking the other 60% of the courses to finish it off. It is a 30-hour program consisting of 10 courses. Depending if you take 2 courses a semester, you would finish in 2 years, actually a little bit less, or you could take 1 a semester and finish in 3 years or more. The maximum is 6 years in the program. Again, all the education courses are fully online, and you do work with teams in the course as a cohort. Generally, a lot of students are following from course to course, and so you get to know other teachers, and you might even be working with them in a group on tasks in the courses. You can transfer 9 credit hours to meet the EdS program of the 30. Those typically students, we usually recommend that there are 9 credit hours in science, graduate science, that you would take it maybe in a local university or college and then transfer those in. Others have found that they just did those courses online. There is a thesis. It's a research that goes on by a teacher yourself, in your own classroom, and on problems either in terms of solving problems in the classroom, on curriculum, or in teaching, or if you want to change your classroom, reform it in some way, and to create some new strategy. The thesis really will help you do that and monitor your progress. There is a comprehensive exam that comes near the end of the program. It actually, though, is the abstract from the thesis, turning that in, and you have completed the comprehensive exam. So that's been changed recently, so it takes some of the burden off of the program. Following the completion, you graduate, and also with a degree, EdS, and a upper level advanced specialist level certificate for teaching. In Alabama, it's class 2A, AA, and it is in the area of biology, chemistry, physics, or general science, with a major in one of those areas. The education courses, and you can start with either of the first two. For instance, the Seminar of Research in Science Education is a curriculum-focused course in terms of looking at the national state standards, looking at using of text or other curriculum materials within your teaching. The second course focuses on pedagogy and science teaching practices, research-based. Both of the courses are research-based strategies. The 620 begins to help you design and conduct action research within your own classroom. There are a number of activities there in training toward collecting the data, analyzing data, and so on. The 670 and the 697 are a pair of courses that occur after you've completed all the other courses in the program, at least the education courses. The research theory in secondary education focuses not only on some advanced readings, but the result of that is developing a proposal to conduct action research within your own classroom. That proposal then is implemented in the next course, the CSE 697, the EdS degree research course, and then completing the thesis. You complete part of the thesis in 670 and conclude it in 697.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sunal. Now we'll transition to talking about some admission requirements. To be eligible for this program, you must hold an earned master's degree in secondary science teacher education and have an Alabama Class A teaching certificate in secondary education science or the equivalent if you live in another state. And also, to be admitted into the program, you need an undergraduate GPA of 3.0 overall, or a 3.0 in the last 60 hours of your undergraduate coursework, or a 3.0 or higher in a completed graduate degree program. And you'll also need to submit either GRE or MAT test scores, and the score for the GRE needs to be 300 or higher if you've taken the test after August 2011, and no lower than the 50th percentile on the MAT. And for your test scores to be valid for either test, you need to have taken the test within the past 5 years. Those scores are valid for 5 years. And we also have conditional admission, so if you don't meet the requirements for regular admission, you may be admitted conditionally if you meet either the GPA requirement or the test score requirement. All that's required of you, if admitted conditionally, is to maintain a B average for the first 12 credit hours, and then you'd be unconditionally admitted. And now we'll discuss some of the student services and resources for distance learners. As a distance learner, you have access to the same resources available to our traditional students, and you are eligible to apply for federal financial aid. and students eligible for military educational assistance may use their educational benefits here at UA. Distance learners have access to all university library resources as well as assistance from the Writing Center. And we also provide Blackboard tutorials. If you're not familiar with that platform or it's been a while since you've used it, that's what we're using here today for our session. But Blackboard is our platform for course delivery for our online classes. And distance students pay a flat hourly tuition rate regardless of their state of residency, and that's currently $354 per credit hour for graduate courses. And of course, that's plus books and any applicable course fees are not included in that rate. The College of Continuing Studies offers scholarships annually to students who are enrolled in degree programs facilitated through us, and you must be admitted or accepted for admission in order to apply for these scholarships. And there are also scholarship opportunities through the College of Education for graduate students. And now a few facts about the University of Alabama. We were established in 1831 as the state's first public college. Approximately 36,000 students attend UA currently, with about 5,400 of those students enrolled in graduate programs and about 3,500 enrolled in distance learning programs. And of course, we are accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, or SACS. The current College of Education was established in 1928 and offers over 20 graduate degree programs for non-traditional students. Faculty offices and classrooms are located in Graves Hall, pictured there on your screen, and in Carmichael Hall, which is right next door. 6 departments make up the College of Education, and the EdS and Secondary Education Science program is housed in the Curriculum and Instruction Department. All of our teacher education programs are offered through the College of Education are accredited by the National Council for Accreditation of Teacher Education. Okay, as I mentioned a little earlier, within the next couple of weeks, you will receive an email with the link to this recorded session, and including, also included in that email will be some links to the resources that I mentioned and all of our contact information for any follow-up that you require or any additional questions. And this brings us to the end of our presentation, and we'd like to open it up now for any questions that you may have. So don't be shy. Go ahead and start typing those questions in the chat box at the upper left-hand corner of your screen. I will read them aloud, and one of us will address your questions. So please feel free to ask us any questions that you may have. Okay, our first question is, you mentioned that we would be working with a cohort. When do those cohorts begin?
Yes, I see that. What we find is that it is not required that you pass through each course with the same group. What happens is, because teachers tend to take the courses in the same rate, you'll see the same person in each course. Within the course itself, we assign groups so that you're working with 2 or perhaps even 3 others, teachers, working on problems, doing analyses within your own classroom, talking about it to each other, posting then results of whatever the problem might be. So there's a lot of collaboration, a lot of sharing of teaching strategies that you find that works, or you might even suggest in between the course content too, suggest that you're coming up with a new unit and you want to try something else. Does anyone have some ideas? A lot of that happens too. So there's a lot of collegial, collaborative activities that go on. And by cohort, I mean the idea is that you will get to know a number of students within each class because, again, they tend to take it at the same pace.
Does anyone have any other questions?
As an aside, I'm not sure if there's another question that's coming out. As I said before, a lot of collaboration goes on between students. I teach in 2 of the courses, and I find that in addition to working with each other in terms of the kinds of activities you might be doing in your classrooms, there's, again, a lot of collaboration in terms of the work within the course. A lot of the work is applying activities within your own classroom, seeing how they work, communicating with others in terms of how these activities either are successful or some changes you need to make in them. So again, it is very different from a face-to-face class, and the fact there's a lot more give and take, a lot more discussion of the course materials than occurs at any time in a face-to-face course. I see there is another response here from, I guess it's Lee, and you have an MAT degree, Master's in Arts in Teaching, and not in Science Ed. Can I apply? Will apply. Yes, in terms of the degree will apply in the state of Georgia, we have maybe on the order of 25% of the students in the program are from Georgia, and a number have graduated already. Now, in terms of the MAT in teaching, what this requires either in your state or in Alabama is a major in a science. So if you've had that as an undergraduate, this is from No Child Left Behind, so it's a national requirement. So if you have a major in biology, chemistry, physics, and so on, then there may be some prerequisites that you might have to fulfill, but yes, we can get you into the program. Okay, you have one in biology, I see here. Okay, let me look back at the question here again. Okay, I see what you're saying here. Okay, let me ask you again a little bit more. Your Master of Arts in Teaching, is that what was the major in that degree, or can you share that with me? Or did it have a major other than generic, purely education courses? Actually, okay. Based on that, you do not have a advanced certification in Georgia in science teaching. You would need that master's level certification to apply for the next level up, which is the EdS level certification. another item on the side is that I know in this state and probably most states there is a salary advancement. In this state, it's again significant amount equal to getting your master's degree, so it's an additional 7.5%. Okay, we have a question from Melissa again. In environmental education, okay, you have a master's. Okay, but all right. Okay. Okay, you probably will need maybe even contact me by email. I'd like to take this by our advising office. You have it in environmental education. If those courses were in biology, for instance, that would work well. If it is in environmental science, I'd want to make sure first that they would be accepted within the state. And again, not that you'll be getting AA certification here if you are in Tennessee, for instance, but you would have the ability to apply for your higher level certification within Tennessee, and it would be similar in the idea is that you would want to have, if it's biology certification, you want to move on with that. But again, I would suggest the best thing is communicate with me by email, and I can give you a definite answer on these. But there is a strong possibility that we'll be able to work with you.
Dr. Sunal, Leanne had a follow-up with her situation.
Go ahead.
Okay, she said she does hold T through 5 certification in Georgia, which is an advanced degree, and biology certification.
Okay, I'm not sure what a T through 5 certificate is. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
She says master's level.
Oh, okay, and that was that certificate was in science education or what? I see she's typing. I'm going to go and call over. Okay. Yes. Again, best thing. Go ahead and email me, and let's work through this. And it looks like it should work. We have had more than a dozen teachers get certification from Georgia in the last couple of years, and typically they're from the area north and west of Atlanta, in the northern part of the state. And in fact, might be one from your district. I don't know exactly where you're from. Okay, and this is another question from Bobby Timms. Okay, you checked this, the Georgia Professional Standards. The program was not eligible for an upgrade in Georgia. Okay, I'm not sure what we're talking about here. Okay, do you know if this has changed recently? Georgia has become very specific about what is not eligible for upgrades. I could ask that question here. If you'd want to explain it to me on an email. Our Associate Dean has worked through a number of different situations with Georgia, and she might be able to respond to that too. I can't do that because I don't understand the idea that you don't have an upgrade. But again, it depends what it is that we're talking about as being upgraded. For instance, if you have an undergraduate degree and certification with that, again, in Alabama, as in many states, you can upgrade that to a higher level certificate. So, does anyone else have questions? Okay.
Okay, Bobby had a follow-up, Dr. Sunal?
Yeah, I'm looking at that now. Okay, so I guess the T5 is a master's level certification, I guess. T6 then would be the EdS level certification. And so, yeah, if you would email me some specifics, that will help. And if I need to, I can get some more information from the person who works with the Georgia school systems and the Department of Education there. If I need any clarification, I can do it that way too. And Lee gave me a yes, and I'm not sure what the question was.
Okay, does anyone have any further questions?
That's this level, yes. Okay.
Okay, if there are no further questions, Dr. Sunal, do you have any closing remarks you'd like to say to the group?
I think you'll find the experience, if you haven't done it before, online to be quite challenging and a different kind of experience than face-to-face classes. Originally, this particular program, we taught it totally on face-to-face within the state here in Gadsden. And we started putting the courses online and found that, in fact, the teachers had much greater reflection and benefits from doing it online. It is a very good professional development experience. Again, better than actually a face-to-face program for distance learners. In other words, by the time you would drive to wherever you're going to take the course and drive back, you would rather use that time instead for work on the course, work on materials, and applying it to your own classroom, so you can get a lot more learning in the same amount of time. And again, it's much deeper. The discussions are much deeper than you can get in a course of maybe 2 or 3 hours in the discussion groups there. And I think that that's all. Again, if you have other questions or other ideas for the program itself, again, email me. calling me, you may not get me because of the fact that I'm a lot of times in class and other places. So email probably is the best way to do it.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sunal, for being with us today and sharing this information. Again, thank you to all of you who took time out of your busy schedules to be with us. And like I said, we'll be sending out this recorded session for you as well as the additional information. Please don't hesitate to contact us if you have any further questions, and have a great rest of the day.